Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the channel, Shelley's Millions, where we talk about finance, budget, and money. The topics are largely dictated by what you guys tell me you want to talk about in the chat. I had a couple topics earmarked for today. A couple of articles that I saved that I just kind of wanted to read through with you guys, and that is Trump's tariffs are possibly affecting auto insurance. We've talked a lot about homeowners insurance being affected by the fires, being here in the state of California. Lots of viewers, good morning, Michael. Lots of viewers from Florida letting me know that it's really hard for them to get insurance on their homes as well. So we've already seen, and that's not related to the Trump tariffs, that's related to fires and insurance companies are a for-profit business, right? So they're struggling because they can't afford to pay all the claims, right? Like, so it makes sense. I don't love it, but it makes sense that it's going up. Good morning. So now we have to look at an article together that flips it a little bit, that sees if Trump's tariffs are going to affect auto insurance. I also saw an article that mentioned that because of all the vandalism that people are doing to the Teslas, that those auto insurance rates are going up. Good morning, Sean. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So there's a lot of people that are unfortunately doing damage to Teslas when they see them on the road. Please remember that those are just individuals. Please don't damage anyone else's personal property. Good morning, Cindy. And you know what? Like, I know that people make fun of the Cybertruck. I thought it's kind of cool, right? I think it's kind of cool. I don't know how I feel about Elon Musk getting involved in politics. I don't think that's for me to say, but I absolutely think that it's not okay to vandalize someone else's property, right? That's not the avenue. So I have heard that people who own Teslas, that their insurance rates are going up. And I just want to remind everybody, if you know anyone that owns a Tesla, make sure to encourage them to get their insurance directly through Tesla and not like Geico or AAA or anything like that, because it's going to be cheaper through Tesla. Something about Tesla being able to stand behind how reliable their cars are and how safe they are to drive and all of those factors. Tesla's willing to stand behind that when they insure the vehicle. Of course, research like if the coverage is comparable and all of those kinds of things. But guys, if you know anybody who drives a Tesla, make sure that they know that even if the rates are going up, the best place to get it insured is still going to be through the Tesla insurance. I saved my that's advice from my own friend. He bought a Tesla. He bought it before they started offering all the rebates, and he was like really angry. He's like, I paid way too much for this car. And I was like, well, hey, where are you getting it insured through? And he was doing it through like a regular insurance company. And I was like, no, if you get that insured through Tesla, you're going to save some money. And he's saving over $100 a month. So it's nothing to sneeze at. So we all probably know somebody who drives a Tesla. My neighbor just got one. So just make sure that they're insuring it through Tesla. Okay. What else did I want to talk about today? So we're going to talk about, are the tariffs potentially going to affect auto insurance? And we're just going to look at an article together. I sent myself some articles this week to remember to read them together with you guys. Then I saw another article that I'm going to comment on before even reading it. I don't know what this article is about, but the article was saying that they're halting deliveries of food to food banks. And the comment that I want to make before even reading the article, we haven't started getting these since my mom moved in here. But you guys know that my mom used to go to the food bank. And before that, though, she used to get boxes delivered right to her house, and it would have things like spaghetti sauce, spaghetti, peanut butter. it didn't have, like, anything that wasn't a dry good. I think sometimes it had, like, canned vegetables, canned fruits, things like that. But here's the comment without reading the article. I certainly wanna make sure that everyone is fed and that they're not feeling food insecure. But my mom would have, like, 3 or 4 of these boxes, like, stashed up at one time. So, they would deliver this box of food from the food bank. They would deliver that to her house whether she needed it or not. And so that is kind of government waste, right? And I mean, rather than throw the food away, because my mom's not gonna throw food away, she would, like, give it to neighbors. So she would share it, but they potentially didn't need it either. So if there's a way to, like, find out, you know, because I think the box is standard based on your family size. Um, you know, would it take more money to call and find out if people needed that food? Maybe. I don't know what the answer is there, because you don't wanna waste time. You don't wanna deliver if somebody doesn't need it, right? Because that's wasteful. But if you're trying to contact somebody to find out if they need it or not, I could see my mom being like, "Why are these idiots calling me? They can just bring it or not bring it," right? So, but it is wasteful to drop something off to somebody and they've got, like, a 4-month stash. And things like spaghetti noodles, I love spaghetti, right? So I would go over there, and if she had extra spaghetti noodles, like, if she had 4 packs that she wasn't using, I would go ahead and grab 1 or 2. Um, and I don't need the assistance, right? So there's gotta be a better way to do that. Now that's got me thinking about government waste for a second. There are a lot of inefficiencies. I think I was telling you guys that the state or the federal government, they spent money to get my grandma shoes when she wasn't even walking. My mom was like, "Can't they just get her, like, more grippy socks? Because, like, they're not even putting shoes on her in the morning." So again, that's wasteful. My mom is a veteran, so she gets all her medical care through the VA, and she was making fun of them because they sent, like, 1 bottle, and it was in, like, a huge box. Now, I don't know if they get special pricing on their packaging, I hope that they do. And then the piece of paper that they sent with it, because it was like, even though they sent 1 medicine, they sent, like, a whole printout of all the medicines that were gonna be on order, that were gonna come in other packages, and that thing was longer than a CVS receipt. So, definitely, like, and things like paper and ink and boxes that are too big, like, that seems like it could add up, right? Okay, but we're gonna actually look at the article about the halt to the food banks. Um, and I know that sometimes there's agreements between farmers, or not farmers because that's fresh stuff, but there's agreements between certain companies and the government to produce the foods that are being put in the food bank boxes. Um, so if they're slowing that down, could that be a problem for the companies that are manufacturing? Like, it's a whole, everything's really tied in a lot more than you think. And Debbie, let's do the movies before we get too far into it. I work at a movie theater for those of you who are new, and so we always kind of talk about the movies. Last week was a really bad week. This week it's a little bit better. Snow White is the number 1 movie, but they're saying it was still ho-hum, and my theater did not get that. We're playing Black Bag is our number 1 movie. It's kind of like a spy film, and then we're also playing something called Novocaine, which is doing really well, and Opus, which has the girl from The Bear in it, and Mickey 17, which is the guy who did Parasite. That's his, latest movie. And then this coming week, we're getting Death of a Unicorn, and we might be getting The Woman in the Yard. So anyway, that's what's coming up. Hoping that the summer is gonna be good for movies, because it has been. This is always the slow period right after the Oscars. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. That means please take a moment to like the video. I'm gonna start preparing to pull up some of these articles. If you guys want to let's look at auto insurance first. That's what I'm most curious about. And let me know if you want me to reference and pull up the article about the Teslas having to pay more money on insurance. Oh, Cindy, are they going to start delivering boxes of food again? I know the way of distributing food dates back to at least the 30s or 40s. So at least here in California, my mom was getting, hi, Steve. Steve, I have a question for you. Let me finish my sentence to Cindy, and then I'll ask you my question. So, Cindy, my mom was getting a food bank box, and I want to say it was a monthly box. She said that she doesn't even know how she got on the mailing list to receive the box. I know at one point she was at the senior center and I was like, Mom, you don't need to get food from the food bank. Like, I can give you money or, this, that, and the other. And she said, Shelly, I qualify. I'm going to get it. And I said, okay. The way she explained it to me, I thought she qualified just because of her age. I know a lot of programs they're concerned that seniors are getting like proper and balanced nutrition. So my mom was like eating lunch at the senior center, and my mom, sometimes she would like get the meals to go, but not always. But she's not really sure even how she got on the list of receiving the food. And so she would get it monthly. And I think it's a federal program, though, not a state program. Aw, Sean, you gotta hit me up on Instagram and be like, "This is, Sean." Hi, Alex. Good to see you in here. I'm good. You went to Vaughn's to get some groceries, and some guy in his early 20s, um no, he's put his door oh, no, he doored your Yaris. Y you know, I my mom taught me, you're not gonna love this, but I'm gonna share it anyway. My mom taught me that, like, it's just a car. It's to get you from point A to point B. I know you love it, and I love it for you, and I know that you just had the windows tinted, and I'm really excited about it for you. But my mom taught me you can't care too much about those things. But I think more than, like, somebody dinging your door, it's about how they act afterwards. Like, I would be so mortified if, like, I opened my door and it dinged someone else's car, especially if it, like, left a mark or something like that. Sometimes, because I'm a big girl, if I open the door, sometimes I do have to touch the other car to get out of my car, depending on, like, how close they're parked to the line, how close I'm parked to the line, depending on the situation, right? Especially sometimes if I'm getting back in the car. But I always, like, if I have to do that, like, I open the door so slowly so that it's not like it's not gonna ding. And, like, they could just say, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry," right? That would door ding. Wait, did they do it on purpose? Anyway, like, that sucks, and I'm sorry that happened. Steve, local seniors have 3 banks to get food. She has more than she can eat. That was the same with my mom. So, Steve, my question for you, though, is you left a comment about getting eggs from the Amish. And I was just wondering, um, do you know if that's available in Southern California? The price of eggs is still crazy here. It's better. We were gonna buy eggs. We've been going to Amazon Fresh since my mom moved in. It's a smaller kind of grocery store, which I think is manageable for my mom to, like, walk through. And they have, like, good deals. They have clearance. Other than that, their prices are comparable or lower. There's almost always like a $10 off coupon if you're an Amazon Prime member. Oh, hi. Oh, Joel. Okay, let's read your comment. It's been a very tough month for your family. Your aunt has stage 4 lung cancer that spread to her brain, and she's fighting for her life. These are definitely challenging times for the family. My heart goes out to you and your family, and um, just wishing everyone healing. And I never quite know what to say in these, but my thoughts are really with you. One of my somebody that I know, is having a big medical procedure. They had it yesterday. I'm not sure, how soon they can have visitors, and it's tricky. Okay. Um, Joel, thank you for sharing that, and, like, let me know if there's anything I can say or do that would be, supportive, and it just sucks that you're going through that. Um, Cindy says, that she knows food banks have to qualify for federal food. A private food bank has to keep federal and private food separate. Yeah, so my mom was getting both. Like, she would go to the food bank and she would go through the line, and sometimes you could see that it was like, Costco enchiladas she got one time. Oh, she shared those with me as well. They're super good. Like, she cooked them and then came over, and then that's the meal that we had. So Costco enchiladas, which are really expensive if you go to Costco and you get them yourselves. Um, then she but, and then some fresh produce and vegetables. So and sometimes there would be, like, old Trader Joe's items, or it would be stuff that's, like, probably day old or something like that. So she would get those items, but then she would all and those items were definitely local. I don't know if they kept the sections separate, but she would physically go to one and get those items, and then she would get the box of food mailed to her. Okay, Alex said, "You remember during the pandemic, you were almost embarrassed to go to the food bank because I never really did that before. There was kind of a stigma to it, but you went anyway because you need it." So, please, please, everyone, if you're listening to this channel, if you know somebody, do not be embarrassed to get the help that you need, right? I'm so proud of you that you went. My mom is living with me now, and we're not going to the food bank. And you know what she tells me? She misses it. She misses going to the food bank. So she used to drive, maybe not every Saturday because she would only go when she needed it, but like, I think they would give you, like, corned beef right before St. Patrick's Day. They give you a ham right before Christmas. They give you a turkey. Good morning, Joy and Joey. They give you turkey before Thanksgiving. And my mom, during, like, November, she would be like, "I don't wanna miss going to the food bank because" Um, I don't wanna miss going to the food bank because I wanna make sure that I get everything that I need for Thanksgiving. So my mom would do the Thanksgivings that she made here a lot of the time with food that she got from the food bank. And when I was little, I was really embarrassed by using you used to have to, like, use physical food stamps, so, like, people could see, like, the whole coupon book, so I would be embarrassed of that in the grocery store. I was embarrassed to use a coupon at a restaurant or, like, a fast food chain. I was like, "Everybody's gonna know we're poor." That's what I thought using a coupon meant. Now, at like and I think the shift was really when I started working and I saw people that were coming to the movie theater who had, like, a discount coupon. Those people, I don't know what their financial background was, nor do I care. What it means if someone is coming to your business with a coupon, it means that they like the product that you have or that they're trying the new product that you open. Those are your regular customers, your good customers that you want to, like, engage the most with, and you want them to come back. I don't ever think twice. Am I loving money like I do, this is true for our customers too. I'm gonna tell them the cheapest days to go to the movies. I'm gonna tell them about, like, our discount card or our aficionado program. If they ask me what the cheapest way to go to the movies is, PS, it's usually on Tuesdays, um, and to sign up for a movie theater loyalty program. But if anybody asks me how to save money, like, I love and I'm never like, "They're poor. Oh, they can't afford the movies." I never think that. I'm like, "Yeah, they're saving money. They wanna do this and keep as much money in their pocket as possible." Um, okay, I wanna read Steve's comment about the eggs. So Steve left a comment on one of my posts that where I shared the price of eggs was $7.99 for a dozen, and Steve, is able to get some from, some Amish families. Look online and see if the Amish are near us. They are not common in some areas. He gets jumbos for $3 a dozen. I don't we must not have that, but I'm gonna look into it. Um, anyway, my mom misses going to the food bank. She misses, She said it was like a surprise. You know, you would go through the line and they just kinda give you what you give you. You before the pandemic, I guess I never really ended up going with her, but you could go through the line and say, "Yes, I would like that," or "No, I wouldn't." After and during the pandemic, there couldn't be that much, like, talking and back and forth, and there was more urgency to get people through the line, and so they just gave you, like, a pre-filled bag, like, you just got whatever you got. But my mom enjoyed that. She enjoyed, like, getting foods that she hadn't received before. What did she have? I don't know, like, all sorts of stuff, and she would be like, "Shelly, how do I cook this? Shelly, what are this kind of peppers? Shelly, what do you think I should make with this?" She enjoyed kind of the challenge. It was like a surprise to her, right? It's kinda like opening a present. "Ooh, what did we get today? Like, let's open it." So you would open the thing that you got from the food bank, and sometimes there'd be, like, pastries, which she's not supposed to have because she's diabetic. Um, you would get, like, different kind of fruits or, just, like, all kinds of things that she might not spend the money on herself if she has to pick and choose, like, which foods she was gonna get, but in the food bank, they give it to you, so you're like, "Hmm, what can I make with canned lychee fruit?" or something, so it exposed her to foods that she wasn't familiar with, which then does give you variety in your diet, which is good for seniors, and I do feel like just going to the food bank was good for her, like, mental health. So she's expressing missing going to the food bank now that she lives with me, and I'm kind of like, "Just let me know if you want me to bring a random bag of groceries home that I buy, and then you can figure it out," but it's not quite the same. Ben says, "Oh man, the pandemic and all the unemployment videos. What a time for sure. Can you imagine if 2025 we are still in that pandemic getting generous stimulus checks? Inflation would be even worse." Yeah, and so would the government deficit. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. You guys know that that means to please take a moment and like the video. Joy and Joey says, "Has anyone heard of the app? I think it's too good to go for people on a budget or to get dinner or desserts." So I think you told me about that app before. For me, it looks like it's a lot of breads and pastries. They do have some people. Um, ooh, that sounds good. There's something called No Worries Curry. But see, it's a $33 value and you get it for 10.99, but they're out of it. Then there's one that I always want to get. I bet it's going to be on here today. Oh, nope. Pick up for dinner. I don't know if it's not on here yet or if it's just not on here. Meals. Okay. Whole Foods California in Beverly Hills. You can get a prepared foods bag and it's got like a picture of sandwiches. It says it's worth $30, but that it cost 9.99, and I just don't know if that's a good deal. And then it tells you what time you could pick it up. So you could pick up the prepared food bags on the app Too Good to Go from Whole Foods. You would pick it up between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. and it would be $10. So as I understand it, this is things that's cute. There's things that they can't sell that they have you pick up during certain times at a discount. I normally see one for sushi, and it's like $30 worth of sushi for 9.99. But the issue that's tricky, let's look at pickup tomorrow. Let's see if it's on there. Whoops. There's also bagels. I do love a bagel, but my mom's not really supposed to have those either. So there's usually sushi. I'm going to use my current location and see if that changes it. We'll go back to today. Anyway, I have heard of the app. I haven't found anything that appeals to me except for possibly sushi. But the reason why I haven't done the sushi is because it's only available for pickup between like 9 p.m. and 9:30. And one, that's really late. Even when I get off work late, that's still kind of late for me. If I work the day shift, I normally get off at like 7:30, but I don't wanna, I wanna come right home, and once I'm home, I don't wanna leave again. That's true with so many people. Okay. Steve is saying that land prices are so high, they wouldn't be in lower priced areas. I think you mean higher priced areas, but yeah, the Amish people. I'm not sure. I've also heard that Amish people like that they're supposed to help and do service. So like if you need help with your lawn or if you need help with like carpentry, like they will help you do it. They'll just help you do it. Maybe at like they sell it for a reasonable price. I'm not sure, but it's a great resource if it's near you. I don't think we have that here in Southern California. Ben says he wants his own chickens to make eggs for him. Egg prices are maddening. Yeah, I thought that too. I didn't know, chickens though, eventually, like, they get to the point where they've laid so many eggs they can't lay any anymore, like, then what would I do with the chicken? I wouldn't eat them. So then would I just have a bunch of chickens around that couldn't lay eggs anymore? Also, my best friend that runs out my garage for work from home is like, "Please do not please don't get chickens." Okay, Ben also says, "You were too late to act for, unemployment during the pandemic. You were working as a hairstylist and didn't know you could get PUA." Oh, this isn't Ben, this is Anthony. "You didn't know you could get PUA for 4 months. You were broke. Retroactive pay was nice, though, with the boost." It sure was. Also, maybe while we're on the live today, let's check California's unemployment rate because I don't know, like, your news feed is curated to, like, the things that you've looked at. It's kinda like TikTok and, like, Instagram. Like, it shows you things that it thinks you might be interested in. So I don't know if mine just thinks, "Oh, she really wants to read about people losing their jobs," or if just that's really, really what's going on, but I can't seem to get away from it. Okay. Joy and Joey says, "It definitely, changed daily, and you have to look early. That's the only downside on the Too Good To Go app." Yeah. Okay. Cindy says, "I know, the Amish are in the Northeast and the Midwest. You've lived in Indiana and Illinois, which have pockets of Amish. So if you're in those areas, maybe see about getting eggs for cheaper." And I feel like it probably is like way better quality. Steve says, "You know, a guy that you worked with that raised chickens and he sells large eggs for $2 a dozen. Also look for a person that raises chickens as a hobby. They can sell cheap as well." Yeah, and I need to look into it. Where my mom used to live near it's a city called La Puente in California, and there was like a chicken farm. Maybe you can just go there. I don't know. Okay. Joey says, "Check to see if there's any by your job. When you leave work, I think you can do it by mileage per zip code." It's always just donuts and pastries on the Too Good To Go app, which, like, that makes sense because bread and day old bread and yada yada. But like, I need to eat less bread. Steve says, Amish shingles, they'll do shingles for half price. They'll do your roof when you need it done. That's really cool. Okay, let's look at some of these articles now. I gotta share my screen. It's not the right thing's not up, but we'll do this. Okay, share. What is the name of the article? I know we've been talking kind of a lot about We've been talking kind of about the food bank, but let's look at the article that I wanted to look at, or Trump's tariffs, auto insurance increase. Let's see here. All right, here we go. So Trump's tariffs are raising car part prices. But will your auto insurance increase? I hope that the answer is going to be no to this, you guys. And I understand the theory behind the tariffs. And from what I've read, it should work, basically. Right? So I if it should work, then let's work it. But in the meantime, ugh, gross. Very first sentence is add auto insurance to the list of items that will likely cost more because of tariffs. The national average cost of full coverage car insurance could increase by 8% by the end of the year if 25% tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico go into effect on April 2nd, according to an analysis by Insurify. The average insurance premium would go from, oh, Jesus, $2,313 to $2,502. The cost is likely higher since the analysis was done before President Donald Trump imposed 25% tariffs on aluminum and steel last week. Dang it. What did I click something wrong? I did. Okay. Okay, we're already in shock for a second here because are people really paying that much for auto insurance? Hold on. I just paid my auto insurance. So it's saying that the average insurance premium is $2,313. Now, granted, my car is a 2013, so it's 12 years old now. 2013. It's 12 years old now, my car. So it's not as much to insure. It's not an expensive car to begin with, but my goodness. Where's my car insurance? I thought it okay. 131.23 is my monthly payment. I do have full coverage. So I'm paying $1,574 a year for my car insurance. I think it's because, like, people have really expensive cars. Okay, but anyway, so they're saying it could go up basically almost $200 from 2,313 a year to $2,502 on auto insurance, that it could go up. Trump agreed to postpone until early April tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada that fall under the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMCA, a free trade deal he signed in 2019. They make up 50% of Mexican goods coming into the US and 30% of those from Canada. Without the 25% tariffs on imports, Insurify projected car insurance to raise an increase of 5%. Increase in auto parts raises insurance cost. Many consumers are worried about how the tariffs will affect the cost of their goods, but many aren't thinking about how services they paid for will also be impacted. It might not be intuitive to people that tariffs would end up raising people's car insurance rates. And the main way they do that, is because tariffs would increase the price of car parts. To me, I was like, who cares? But I see. So if you get in an accident, what happens? Your car, the frame, the body, the door is bent, the bumper needs replaced. And if they're increasing the cost of those metals and those parts to come into US, that's why. So it would cost the insurance companies, and again, they're hoping to make a profit, the insurance companies. So they're passing that off to the consumer. All right, Steve says, I have a 2000 beater van, 2000 Ranger pickup truck, and a 2007 Prius liability. For $320 a year. Yeah, I need to switch mine to liability only. I probably do not need full coverage on my car anymore. They say once, yeah, it's just I don't think I need that anymore. I should probably research like when it might be a good time to switch that. I'm gonna take another sip of coffee if you guys can still like the video. Okay. Anyway, let me reread this sentence. It might not be intuitive to people that tariffs would end up raising people's car insurance rates. And the main way they do that is because tariffs would increase the price of car parts. The cost of car insurance is based in part on the cost of car parts. 1/5 of the cars and light trucks sold in the US come from Canada and Mexico. And the US imports roughly 32% of its total auto parts from Canada and Mexico. According to data released in February, the American Property Casualty Insurance Association, about 6 out of every 10 auto replacement parts used in the US auto shop repairs are imported from Mexico, Canada, and China. If parts become more expensive, Car owners will pay more each time they need something fixed. Tariffs will also increase the price of new cars. According to Wolf Research, the tariffs would likely raise the cost of new cars by around $3,000. Oh, God. And the average new car cost $48,641, which estimates tariffs would raise the price to $51,641. That's insane. Guys, please do not buy a car that costs more than $51,000. Car insurance rates are based on both replacement cost after an accident as well as the overall cost of the car. Even if auto insurance insurers tried to source a part made in the US instead of one imported from Mexico or Canada with a tariff tacked on, it might not be cheaper. The reality is that a lot of times these companies in the US will know that the insurer can't pay a cheaper price like they used to in the past. So they'll also tend to raise their prices. If Which state will see the highest auto insurance increases? Based on existing auto insurance rates, New York will see the highest cost increase insurance rates. The cost of annual coverage would increase by $489 by the end of the year, with $110 of that directly attributed to tariffs. Tariffs are expected to increase rates in all states based on Insurify's estimates. Without tariffs, Insurify project car insurance would decrease or remain flat in five states. Without the tariffs, the 5 states where they were predicted to remain the same would have been Vermont, New Hampshire, Hawaii, New Mexico, and Idaho. Consumers are not likely to see any increases to auto insurance rates until the end of the year, since most insurers have to get approval from state regulators to increase premiums, and that takes time. We expect those prices would show up when drivers renew their policies or switch to a new insurer rather than in the middle of a 6-month coverage period. Okay, well, so that's sort of good news, right? And they're saying, so even though they're saying that the insurance rates might go up by 8% because of the tariffs, really only 3% of that is because of the tariffs, because this company predicted that the insurance rates were going to go up 5% anyway. And I do remember back in 2020, my insurance rates were lower than, I think it was like $89. Okay, let's look at the EDD really quickly. I want to see. I want to see what the unemployment rate is here in the state of California really quick. That's interesting too. I wonder how many jobs in the US the tariffs would create. Okay, so I will say, let me remove this from the screen for 1 second. I will say that the article mentioned that maybe there's the hope that, like, instead of getting parts imported from Canada or Mexico, that, like, insurance companies would choose to purchase parts to repair your car that were made and manufactured in the United States. So it could increase people purchasing products that were made here in the US versus products that were made overseas. It could increase, like, so maybe a Ford or Chevy, maybe those aren't going to be $3,000 more expensive, right? So that could encourage people to buy American made vehicles, which could then increase jobs. Like, maybe we would need more people to sell those cars. Um, Maybe we need to make sure that the tariffs are being, like, implemented correctly, and that could create more jobs. So I'm sure, like, it's a push pull give take, right? Like, I'm sure that imposing the tariffs, is that the right word? That adding the tariffs to products that are coming from Canada and Mexico will help jobs here. But I don't have any data yet on how much. Okay, I am curious about the California unemployment rate. I will say that a lot of times up here on the California EDD board in this little yellow section is usually some, like, important information. And it just says if you recently lost your job as a federal employee, you may be eligible for unemployment benefits. Okay, and then here's the data. Is there like a chart? So the current unemployment rate in January of 2025, because remember that the data is lagging. So it was 5.4%. New and reopened claims filed was 43,000. Backlog of claims 2,743. Let's look at the data dashboard there really quickly. And this is since March of 2020. Where's just total unemployment claims? I just want to see how much it's increased. Usually there's like a chart usually just for the recent ones, not those ones. Oh, let's look at this. Nope. Where's the... Normally there's like this nice little graphic of how much it's increased or decreased, but I don't see that. Maybe let's look at this. Okay. Well, I don't know, but I can tell you that the last time I looked at this, it was in the 4 point something range, and now it's in the 5 point range. How about facts and stats? Isn't this the data dashboard? Why is it just giving me since 2020? I don't want that. I want just the current month. All right. Well, I'm not able to get to the thing that I wanted to get to. Where is it? Well, I think it's a good sign that I don't as easily navigate my way around the unemployment website. But it is up a little bit since the last time I checked it. Okay. Now I want to read the article about the food banks and just see what's going on. The USDA halts deliveries to food banks. Okay, there we go. Okay. I'm going to look at the CNN article if we can. Okay, this is about the food banks. So we'll probably look at this, and then I might head out a little bit early today. We will see. Okay, so the food banks scramble after USDA halts $500 million in deliveries. So this is the kind of thing my mom would get. She would get like a box like that came from the food bank. So in the coming weeks, the shelves at dozens of food pantries in California's Fresno County will be a little emptier. Visitors won't be able to take home as many groceries, and their bags will contain fewer nutritious items like chicken, eggs, milk, and cheese. That's largely because the U.S. Department of Agriculture has halted $500 million in deliveries to food banks nationwide that the Biden administration announced last year, multiple food banks told CNN. The Central California Food Bank, which distributes food to 60 pantries in the county, recently learned that 13 truckloads of groceries worth $850,000 set to be delivered between April and July were canceled. It comes at a time when many residents are struggling to afford food since supermarket prices remain high. My food bank in Fresno can't magically come up with $850,000 and 500,000 pounds of food to backfill that cancellation, Kappels said, noting that the nonprofit is already running at a deficit. It means neighbors are getting less food when they show up at these distribution sites, and they're getting a lesser variety of foods. The USDA confirmed to Feeding America, a nationwide network of more than 200 food banks and 60,000 meal programs that the agency is reviewing the funding, said Vince Hall, Chief Government Relations Officer at the nonprofit. It is our hope that the review will conclude with a decision to continue investing CCC, Commodity Credit Corporation, dollars in food purchases, Hall said, noting that food banks from coast to coast are in danger of not having enough items to meet the need. The problem is particularly acute in rural areas where food banks rely even more on government supplied groceries. The 500 million in funding came from the USDA's Commodity Credit Corporation, which at times provides additional resources to purchase food from American farmers. So this hurts the farmers too if they're not able to purchase food from them, and ranchers, and send it to emergency food providers. The pause comes soon after the agency announced it's ending two COVID-19 era programs that provided money for food banks and schools to purchase food from local and regional farmers and ranchers, halting some $1 billion in funding. Asked for comment on the pause, the USDA said that the Biden administration created unsustainable programming and expectations using the Commodity Credit Corporation. The agency noted that it continues to buy food for the Emergency Food Assistance Program, spending more than $166 million so far this fiscal year, which began October 1st. Also, it has purchased more than $300 million in various poultry, fish, fruits, vegetables, and tree nuts through another assistance program recently approved an additional $261 million in purchases of more fruits, vegetables, and tree nuts. Politico was the first one to report the halt in food deliveries. In Washington, D.C. metro area, the Capital Area Food Bank is scrambling to replace 1.3 million in food deliveries that have been canceled, said Radha Uthia, CEO of the nonprofit, which served 64 million meals through more than 400 partners agencies last year. Some 27 trucks containing the equivalent of 670,000 meals, including chicken, eggs, blueberries, and other highly nutritious items, are now listed as returned in the USDA portal. Okay, I'm going to stop right here to comment, and I haven't read the rest of the article. Oh no. Why is this? Oh, let's close this. So it says returned. So were all of these items, because that's really wasteful. If all of these items were already on the trucks and then they're just getting reverted back, that's really wasteful because some of the stuff is not going to last, right? Then there's the other part of this, 27 trucks. So how long were those truck routes? Is the canceling of all these deliveries of all this product, is that going to cut government jobs? Because is that going to cut government jobs? Is it going to cut government jobs because like people aren't driving those trucks back and forth, or just, maybe not even government jobs? Jobs at the nonprofits, because maybe now they don't need as many people to put together the boxes that contain the food. Maybe they don't need as many people there to like check in and put away the deliveries once they get there. Like this could have a far-reaching effect and decrease the number of jobs for truckers, the people receiving the deliveries, the people handing out the deliveries, that kind of thing. I will say that a lot of times that's done by volunteers. Like I know when my mom was working at the senior center, she often volunteered to be the one handing out the meals. Okay, Steve says, I remember the tariffs in the 70s. I did not see any big job gains back then. The US made up 20% of the world GDP in the 70s, and we're at 11% of world GDP now. So I don't see big job gains. That's too bad. Yeah, and they really are, it just seems like there's been a lot of jobs lost, and it seems like it's been since after January, which right now, the only unemployment data that I'm seeing on the California EDD website is only through January. So what happens when they start showing us the numbers through February, through March, and so on and so forth? Okay. Okay. We're also going to say the $500 million in funding came from the USDA's Commodity Credit Corporation. I'm back to reading the article about the halt on the food banks. The $500 million in funding came from the USDA's Commodity Credit Corporation, which at times provides additional resources to purchase food from American farmers and ranchers and send it to emergency food providers. The pause comes soon after the agency announced it's ending 2 COVID-19 area programs that provided money for food banks and schools to purchase food from local and regional farmers. Also, what happens to like the crops, what happens to the farmers? Like if we're not buying as much from them, they're going to lose money. Then they don't need as many staff. Then they're not able to sell as much product. And I don't know a lot about farming, but from the picture that has been painted to me, they're not exactly rolling in the dough from the get-go. So from what I've read, they use a lot of these programs to actually stay profitable. Ugh. Asked for comment on the pause, the USDA, we read that part, said that the Biden administration created unsustainable programming and expectations using the Commodity Credit Corporation. They noted that it continues to buy food for the Emergency Food Assistance Program, spending more than $166 million so far this fiscal year, which began October 1st. Also, it has purchased more than $300 million in various poultry, fish, fruits, vegetables, and tree nuts through another assistance program and recently approved an additional $261 million in purchases of more fruits, vegetables, and tree nuts. In Washington, D.C. metro area, I read this part, but I'm just reading it again. In the Washington, D.C. metro area, Capital Area Food Bank is scrambling to replace $1.3 million in food deliveries that have been canceled. Some 27 trucks containing the equivalent of 670,000 meals, including chicken, eggs, blueberries, and other highly nutritious items, are now listed as returned in the USDA portal. I hope that food doesn't go bad. The food bank is turning to its supporters, including food retailers and wholesalers, corporations, foundations, individual donors, and others to try and close at least part of the gap, although it would be hard to do in such a short period of time. We are really trying very hard not to reduce the amount of food that flows through our network because we know it's needed by folks right now and potentially needed by more individuals who might be affected by some of the cutbacks in the federal government workforce. But not all food banks can turn to private and corporate donors to make up for the loss of USDA supplied food. Feeding Southwest Virginia, which serves 26 mostly rural countries, had 10 truckloads containing $513,000 worth of food paused. It doesn't have the resources to buy food to replace those now canceled deliveries. We have to make some tough decisions, much like the families or neighbors that are struggling right now. It could be that some of our agencies and programs will have to provide less food, or it could be that we provide food to less neighbors. And this is why I don't think like any of these government jobs are easy. I think it's really, tricky to have to make that decision. Muse says, I hope the food doesn't get wasted. Eggs are still high in Louisiana. Yeah, I'm in California. Eggs are still high out here. And yeah, if that food gets wasted, it's saying that it got returned. So that indicates that they were like in the process of like putting it on the truck. And some of the stuff is canned, like the spaghetti sauce and the spaghetti, that kind of things. That'll be fine if it sits on the shelf for like an extra month. If it doesn't go out this month, but it goes out next month. But we can see like it looks like a cabbage or something like that in this picture on the front. And like if that's the case, like fresh food, it's gonna spoil. That's to me, this is the kind of government waste that if Elon Musk is gonna be looking at, that he should look at stuff like this. The cost of having a full truck Like, let's at least wait to pause this until we've given out all the fresh stuff that's gonna spoil, right? Like, and I'm not saying that I think it's a good idea to pause it at all, but if we're gonna do that, like, oh, they've already returned all these trucks, 27 trucks, 10 trucks. Like, if they're gonna do that anyway, like, let's not mark the items as returned. Let's deliver what we have and then look at a feasible timeline to pause the program. Let's give the food bank some time to, like, figure out a different way, like, a different, it's annoying, you guys. I'm sure you feel it too. But yeah, I'm right there with you, Muse. Steve says US GDP numbers for the first quarter of 2025 come out the 27th of this month, and this will tell us how the economy is doing. So let's see here. I think, right, then we should be able to talk about that. Yeah, next Sunday, we can talk about the GDP numbers. And I'm not an expert in that. I'm more like, I would like to achieve financial freedom personally. I'm explaining this 'cause Steve, like, I think you're a little bit new to the channel. I'm based in California. I help people like with their unemployment benefits during the pandemic because our unemployment system was so overwhelmed. But my personal goal, the reason why the channel's named Shelly's Millions, is I would like to be a millionaire. I would like to set my mom up for life. I would like to be able to afford the best doctors in the world for her. I would like to do some travel. And I would just like to not have to worry because like I mentioned, I grew up getting government cheese and government boxes of food when I was little. We used food stamps. I grew up in a trailer. So I'm looking to find ways to change that path for me. That's why I'm always talking about like I love that my viewer Alex shared that she bought a Yaris and she's upset because like a Yaris is not like a super fancy car, but she loves it. And it's reliable. It's a Toyota. So I love that she's happy and made like a good decision. That's why I'm like, here's where you get your Tesla insurance for the cheapest. Because I want myself and my viewers to try and make the best financial decisions that we can. Okay, Steve says. So we can talk about the GDP next week. Although, like, I know more about like where to save your money or, that kind of thing. Steve says your garden makes up to 50% of your food and you give away to the neighbors. You don't want to see any food wasted from the garden. Steve, okay, I think I'll share this little anecdote right before I head out. So I don't know this to be true, but I think every homeowner, because I own my little house, well, the bank owns it, but I'm in the process of buying it from the bank. Um, so when I first bought the house, the very first thing I did, maybe not very first, but pretty quick, I put a garden in. And I will tell you, I don't think I'm good at gardening. And I began to wonder, first of all, I was trying to grow tomatoes, some peppers, some other things, and I'm just growing them like wherever I had dirt, right? And I know that you need to prepare the dirt. And so I was looking into the dirt and I was trying to prepare the dirt, and I probably didn't do it very well, but I was like buying the plant food. First of all, plant food is not cheap, right? Um, and like the tools to like prepare the dirt, like turn the soil so it's not like I don't know. I have that kind of soil where it's like hard unless you like get that tiller and you till the soil. So I was tilling my soil. I have a very small front yard, but I was like, I can grow some tomatoes. And I did grow some tomatoes, but it was a lot of work. Oh, and I'm not afraid of like hard work, but like it seemed seemed like the effort for what like I always thought I'd be saving like tons of money, right? I don't think so because I was using the water from my own garden. Then you have to buy your starter plants. Then you have to buy the food. Then you're looking at like pest control situations. Then you're looking at time value of money. Usually, and I haven't looked in a while, it used to be like I could get 3 pounds of Roma tomatoes from the local like Mexican grocery store. Um, I don't think I quite see it for that good of a price now. Now it's normally like 2.99 for 6 tomatoes on the vine. But the thing is, it was just me. Now it's me and my mom. I would leave the tomatoes for my neighbors, but also the bugs would come and eat the tomatoes. So I'd be like, "Ooh, I've got a tomato today," and I would go out there and the whole bottom of it was gone. So then you're like, "Who ate this? What kind of bug ate this?" Then I'm spending time I'm just not good at it, I don't think. I don't know, but I tried. And when I would get tomatoes, though, when I would have too many, I definitely would take them to the neighbors, and then you're not supposed to, like, use the same soil, like, too many years in a row, right? You're supposed to, like, rotate it out. So, like, base and this is when I was, like, really thinking about getting chickens and stuff, because apparently, like, they can help, like, prepare the soil for you. I don't know. But, like, so you put the tomatoes in one spot one year, and then you're supposed to not put them in the same spot the next year because there's, like, not enough of the right nutrients in the soil anymore. Anyway, so, like, it's not just like, "Oh, put this plant in the ground and, like, walk away and it will grow." Like, it took I don't know if I'm not good at it. I feel like I'm not good at it, but I also felt like I was, like, spending more money. Like, the tomato plant alone is gonna be, like, let's just say it's $2.99. Well, that's 6 tomatoes. Like, I don't maybe I eat 2 tomatoes a week maximum because 'cause I'm just one person. So I eat 2 tomatoes, even if it's $2.99. Is that? That's for 6 tomatoes. So that's $1 worth of tomatoes. It's gonna take me 3 weeks just to get the reimbursement of my plant, and then I'm spending the water to do I just don't know. I don't know. And then you need, like, a tomato cage because then I would be getting, like, a good juicy tomato, but you definitely have to keep it off the soil so the bugs don't eat it, and then it's on the so anyway, if you have any tips about how I can do that, but actually, like, do it and not spend more money doing it, because I deduced that I was just spending more money trying to grow my own tomatoes than I would by just going to the store and buying them. So I just went back to the store to buy them. Maybe I'm not a gardener. I would like to be a gardener. I would like to grow my own tomatoes at least, because tomatoes are supposed to be easy. They're supposed to be like the entry level, like, gardening vegetable. But I do think that, like, every homeowner, when you first buy a house, like, you're like, I'm gonna garden, I'm gonna grow my own food. And I tried it and just didn't quite work. Maybe this summer it's time to try it again. Because my mom, when I was gardening, my mom did mention that she wanted to, like, start gardening as well. So I don't know. You go to the store and you buy frozen vegetables. Hi, Richard. It's good to see you. Um, yeah, frozen and canned vegetables are nutritious and they're often cheaper. Like, they're more affordable and they're just as nutritious as, like, the fresh stuff, right? Just the important thing is that you are eating them. Also, if your back hurts, definitely you can definitely use a bag of frozen vegetables to ice down your back or your knee. And since it's a sealed package, do I eat the vegetables after I've used them to ice down my back or knee? Absolutely. All right, and I think on that note, I'm gonna head out today. It's good to see everyone. Have a happy Sunday. If you're doing the brackets and the March Madness, I hope your brackets are doing well and that your college basketball teams are winning. Have a great Sunday. And next Sunday we'll try and talk about the GDP. And I do want to talk about trying to, like, redeem credit card points and miles for free travel, mostly because I have a trip that I'm trying to plan. And I've already mucked it up, but I'll share with you what I'm learning along the way. All right, you guys have a great rest of your day. I love the pink hand, Cindy. Thanks so much for watching. Shelby Smith. Oh, you guys got to see my shirt. This says Taco Cat, which is spelled backwards, is still Taco Cat. Who knew? Taco Cat, forwards and backwards. TACOCAT. Who knew? Not me. But my coworker got me this because I like cats and tacos. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Shelly Smith. I'll see you next time.